Welcome to another day in the Matrix, Waters Above Crypto. In today's video, I'm going to share a Gematria decode for the recent Elon Musk Twitter theatrics, and then share a quick update on the crypto market. There's been lots of pressure on the markets lately due to earnings coming in on the tech sector, and the Fed pricing in this correction ahead of the rate hikes in May, this in turn putting crypto under pressure. So I'll be going over all of that in today's video. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So as you can see here, a tweet thread between Elon Musk going back to December 21st of 2017. He states, "I love Twitter." Dave Smith responds with, "You should buy it then." And he says, "How much is it?" So essentially, on December 21st of 2017, Elon Musk is inquiring about how much Twitter costs to buy it. And as we can see, when we connect these dates between December 21st, 2017 and the day of Twitter being bought by Elon Musk, it gives you 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days. And of course, you guys are already aware that he bought Twitter for $44 billion. Now, this is actually quite esoteric. A lot of people already were aware of this. It's probably even been covered in the news regarding the 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days. And this isn't necessarily to give our energy to anything, but it's just to teach you how this code works and how scripted all of this is. So this is going to be a deep dive into the more esoteric perspective of what's going on here. And perhaps you guys can start to apply what you're going to learn in today's video to other things that are happening on the world stage. The things that humanity is allowing to be confiscated from them energetically to pretty much fall for the theater time and time again. While the people who are in this community, the people who are watching this video, I appreciate all of your support. You already know that this is all scripted and it's all just theatrics. So let's break this down. Again, we're aware that between this inquiry of how much Twitter costs and the purchase, we're getting 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days. This, of course, being acquired for $44 billion. And let's get a little bit deeper. So April 25th of 2022, the day that it was purchased by Elon Musk, it was the 115th day of the year. Okay, and why that's so important is because Twitter in Gematria equals 115. What a surprise. And as you know, of course, he purchased for $44 billion, and that 44 number is quite important as well. Those of you that are learning a little bit more about what numbers actually mean, of course, you have 1 being the connection to source or just being an existence, and then you have 2, which is duality or a partner or a mirror of your own self, your reflection. 2, moving to 3, you have a translator or a mediator between 1 and 2. This is the pyramid, the triangle, basically a depth and another dimension behind the 1 and 2, and the 4 being the square or the door or the window, something to allow you to move from one place to the next. And when you start to perceive the numbers with a little bit more meaning behind them, you could see how they all play themselves out. So I've told people a couple of times this 44, to me, the 44 number is about having 2 doors. It's about 2 options. Where will I go? Will I go the path of the masses? Will I go the path of the illumined? Where am I headed on my journey? And that 44 number is quite esoteric, and I would love to hear some of your thoughts in the comments of how you guys resonate with the number 4 and 44. because clearly this was all coded in, purchasing Twitter for $44 billion, 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days after inquiring about the price on the 115th day of this year, and Twitter equals 115 in standard English ordinal Gematria. So this is where we go a little bit deeper. Speaking of the 44 and this $44 billion purchase, this brings me to the periodic table. And we're seeing the 44th element being ruthenium. And why this is so important is because the name is derived from Ruthenia, the Latin name for Russia. Okay? What is the most important country on the world stage right now? Russia. Okay, and this is so critical because remember in prior decodes, I was sharing with you guys this big connection between the Twin Towers and Russia and Ukraine. And let me just show you that really quickly by the code. So you have Russia, Ukraine, giving you that 166 in the English ordinal, and then you have Twin Towers giving you that 166. And the Twin Towers are the 1 and the 1. The 2 towers, the 11, and ruthenium, the atomic mass or the atomic weight, is 101, the 101. This is absolutely mind-blowing. And when you remove these zeros, you get the 117 or 711. This 117 is very esoteric. We even see it show up inside of Bitcoin in the reverse ordinal cipher. But this connection here between Twin Towers and Russia and Ukraine is something that I've been talking about this whole year, and how we're moving into the 21st anniversary of 9/11. And this is going to all make so much sense when we start plugging in Elon and L. Elon is L on. And I believe most of you that are new here might have actually come from the recent donut interview that me and him did, Donut Factory. And that interview that we did, we were discussing L and Elon quite a bit. And it's amazing how, you know, this decode I'm doing now is part of all of this, because I'm sure he's going to have something interesting to review from all of this. There's a lot going on in this decode right now. But let's go a little bit deeper. So we have this Russia and Ukraine connection. Let me just show you. And we're getting that 38 in Chaldean. And then when we type in ruthenium, we're actually going to see a connection here. We have that 38 in Chaldean and ruthenium giving us that 38 in Chaldean. All right. This is absolutely amazing. And I'll show you one other way. This is something else that I do when I'm perceiving numbers. We have the 38, which we could perceive as 3 8s. And 3 8s is 8, 16, 24. And remember what 24 is. It's the X. And this is Elon's favorite letter. We have his first company essentially being X.com, which got turned into PayPal. He has SpaceX. He even named his last child X. Literally, his last child is named X. Okay, you could even see here Twitter in 2022 for 44 billion. That's even updated on the Wikipedia page. So this is 100% legit. Wow. I mean, this is pretty amazing how this X connection and the 3 8s coming back to the connection between ruthenium and also Russia, Ukraine, both here with the 38s. I'm really intrigued into how this is all playing itself out because, of course, we know Russia is the most important country right now on the world stage. Everything is being brought back to them energetically. And there's this huge connection now. And Twitter with free speech. And of course, this is all going to play its rounds in the theatrics of what's going on in the Esoteric to keep the masses completely hypnotized. So I do believe this find here is quite significant, and the most important thing for me is this 101, or the 1 and a space and a 1, which is the Twin Towers, Yakin and Boaz, which I actually talked about in my last video as well earlier this week. So another 1-1 or 1-1-1 connection, we also have Elon Musk giving you the 110. the 1-1, the Twin Towers. Even Jack Dorsey, I believe, gives you, yes, the 1-1-1. And this, of course, all ties back to New York and everything else that's going on in this reality. So I'm really interested to see how this is all going to play itself out. One other thing to bring up about Elon Musk is he has this 35, and the 35 is the mirror of 53. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting is this guy, Karl Karlovich Klaus. What a name. The KKK. He is giving us that 53 in Chaldean. Again, that being the mirror of the 35 in Elon Musk. I mean, just kind of like a random thing to bring up, but I think that is pretty interesting. You know, one other big connection we have here with Karl Karlovich Klaus is the 70, and that 70 again coming back to Shemitah with that 70. Again, not necessarily in the same cipher, but we know this 70 number is quite important when it comes to this specific year because we're in the Shemitah year. And of course, Elon Musk is playing such a big role in all of this, what happens this year, because he is El. So again, El being the deity, the king of the gods, and this is Saturn or Cronus. As you could see right here, Greek equivalent being Cronus. So this is Saturn, all right, El, Elohim. And this individual right here is Elon. That's his name. It is El-On. All right. This is definitely important. And it doesn't surprise me that he's accomplishing all of this before the age of 51, because this 15 and 51 number has been following us all year. Look at this right here. The company was bought by eBay in 2002, which is the 22, for 1.5 billion. The 15. That number is written all over this guy. So I knew he was going to have some big things happen to him before the age of 51 and probably around his 51st birthday, just because of this big significance between the 15 and the 51 and this year. Remember, the 15 and all of it tying back to Tiger. We're in the year of the Tiger, and that has to deal with Jupiter. And if it has to deal with Jupiter, then it connects back to Saturn because father and son, right? This is very important. So one other thing to bring up about this Karl Karlovich Klaus is 53 in Chaldean is the 16th prime number, and that's 16 again showing back up in Russia. So we know this is all coded in as well. Look, also Russia giving you the 24, X is the 24. This is all coming back to this. So again, L giving us that 17. We were just talking about Elon or Elon, and the day that Twitter was bought, April 25th, is the 17 date numerology, the 17. All right, and we could keep going deeper. You could just keep going deeper on all of this. And why this all matters, going back to these, ancient deities, etc., is because there's a lot of symbolism here. So look at the symbol of L is the bull. All right, and remember, we're currently in Taurus. So is this a mistake that this purchase happened during Taurus, the bull? And you could see right there, astrology. This is basic tropical astrology from April 21st until May 20th, and that is considered Taurus. So most of you probably know that, but I just want you to see how coded this all is. It's all done to happen on specific days, tied back to events that could be 400 years ago, let alone just 4 years ago. So this is a very important thing to take note. So there's a couple things also to be said here with this connection to L and Saturn, because Saturn, again, is Cronus. And let me just show you right there what we're getting by the numbers. So Cronus giving us that 26, and that 26 is really important because, again, Twitter is giving us that 26. We know this is all tied in. Again, like I just showed you, the 115th day was the day that Elon bought Twitter, and Twitter equals 115. So this is all coming back to L and the bull and Elon and Taurus, and the sign ruler of Taurus is Venus. So let me just show you something deeper. Venus giving you the 81 and 18. And if you go to the ticker symbol of Twitter stock, so the actual stock ticker symbol of Twitter, it's TWTR, which gives us the 81 and 18. This is not coincidence, guys. This is all tied in. Again, I just showed you. Sign ruler of Taurus, I'll show you right here. Zodiac being Venus, And this again comes back to Twitter 8118 and Venus 8118. No matter how you cut it up, it's all coded in. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you see the validity now of using the periodic table in your favor as decoders. I actually was influenced to get into the periodic table more from Logan over at Decode Your Reality. So respect and props and shout out over to Logan at Decode Your Reality. Absolutely amazing decoder. And the way that I've been utilizing it in my work is based off of my base knowledge and how I'm perceiving everything through the mythologies. Because as you guys know, that's how I like to bring everything back to. I'm always bringing it back to these mythologies. And what's amazing is a lot of these elements are also named after the mythological names anyways. Like, you have helium being Helios, and then you have, Pluton being Plutonium, uranium being Uranus. So it's pretty incredible for me now to be implementing the periodic table as part of my work, because it's blowing my mind. It's showing me so many extra layers that are making my decodes more and more and more advanced. One of the really incredible things about the number 15, and we've been talking about this year, this 15, again, significance because we're in the year of the tiger, and this 15 actually coming back to silver because it's the 47th element, which is the 15th prime. This has been blowing my mind lately, all of these connections. And you see how silver has an atomic mass of 107. That's the 1-7. And we were just talking about that with L, the 1-7. So anyways, I don't want to get too deep, but I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation and you see the purpose behind decoding all of this stuff with some extra layers and see how obvious it all is. I mean, even just that connection between Twitter and that being the 115 and the day that Twitter was bought by Elon was the 115th day. Just that alone is significant. Okay, so let's quickly run through the market because not a whole bunch has changed, but I do have something to share regarding this specific chart right here. There's really no reason for me diving too deeply into the altcoins today because it's just a Bitcoin show and it's all tied to the earnings that are coming in on the tech sector. That's putting a lot of pressure on the NASDAQ. Hopefully we see a bounce into this monthly close. I believe that's more likely than continuation to the downside. But anyways, let me just share this chart with you. So you guys are well aware I've been using these firmament domes here for quite a while now. And I also have a Fibonacci retracement tool from this all-time high back on April of 2021 down to the swing low over here, and this was pulled on wicks. So right now I'm using the line chart or the area chart, which does not show wicks. I am also in the 12-hour chart. You're going to see the reason why I'm doing this, okay? This parallel channel that I have has been in play now going back to the beginning of the year. You could see it as a resistance, support, resistance, and recently backtested as a support. Now, we confirm a trend line in technical analysis when we get at least 3 touch points, all right? We are in a daily chart, by the way. So it's very important you're looking at daily, 2-day, 3-day over something like a 4-hour chart. And when you're getting your confirmation of supports and resistances, you want at least 3 touch points. So that's a little basic TA lesson for those of you that are new to technical analysis. And it doesn't need to be perfectly on these levels. That's not really the point here. It's about analyzing trend. Trend is your friend, and when we're in crypto, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to predict because the volatility is enhanced. We have much lower market cap, a lot more leverage, and a lot more unsophisticated, younger people playing this market. People who want everything to be accomplished yesterday. They want to get rich quick, and this is what creates this volatility. Again, this is no disrespect. It just is what it is, right? So when you're in this market, you have to consider it analytically from that perspective first and foremost. This market isn't comprised of a bunch of 60-year-olds that have rolled over all of their 401ks or their retirement funds solely into Bitcoin, and now they're just chilling. You know, a lot of older people are completely scared of crypto, and a lot of younger people are not attracted to Bitcoin. They're attracted to the more speculative stuff. Like I just saw a coin that came out 2 days ago that was literally called Elon Buys Twitter, and it was down like 64% 2 days in a row after he bought Twitter. Like, It's a fucking scam. When you look at the market cap of some of this stuff, it was under $140,000 market cap. I mean, so one millionaire could just go in there with, 500 grand and increase the market cap by what, 300% in a minute? You could pump and dump these coins all day if you wanted to. So the point I'm making here is that when we want to learn TA, you want to look at it through the lenses of Bitcoin if you're talking about cryptocurrencies. If you really want to learn TA, you would want to start with a much less volatile sector. You'd probably move to the indices. Look at the S&P. It also has a chart history that goes back to the 1800s. So you can kind of learn from that. If you want to have more data to work with, but still something that's quite volatile, you'd want to look at the tech sector, perhaps go back to the Amazon charts before 1999, like right around the time of the development of the dot-com bubble. Then you could actually use that data over the long term to see how it all progressed. Then if you want to get into crypto, you'd have to focus on Bitcoin. So I hope those words of wisdom help people from a less emotional, less hype boy, more, focused, and a get-done attitude when it comes to learning the charts. So what we're seeing right now is a very clean backtest of levels that were kind of necessary to backtest anyways. Building up lots of trading range around the low 30 or the high $30,000s to $40,000 range is really important, because it seems to be that if Bitcoin was to break out, this would be our major support level. You can see right here, going back to this cluster in early 2021, returning back to it in the summertime of 2021, then returning back to it recently in the beginning of this year, and now trading up in this channel. One thing to obviously point out here is this is a bear flag. This is a bearish pattern, okay? So you see how here we actually had highs, a huge breakdown, and then we traded in a downtrend, creating a bear trap, and then we actually broke out bullish from it, created a bull trap, and then had this additional move to the upside with a slightly new all-time high. Now, I could break this down piece by piece, but there's really no need to. I've done this a lot in my videos, and I do this quite often in my Red Pill podcasts over on my Patreon. But with this being said, this downtrend, this reverse move, is a bear trap that gets bears caught up in thinking that we're going to keep dropping lower because trend keeps going towards the downside. This is a classic move, and it was really just retesting the prior lows here before the initial buying climax, for those of you that use Wyckoff method. Now here we have a similar thing happening where we had a big shakedown, but what has decoupled it from the prior correction is the reverse. We are actually moving on an uptrend where we can see a high, higher high, higher high, low, higher low, higher low so far. Of course, we could just break away from this at any moment, but my point being is this is a bear flag. And because we've had 3 touch points, as a technical analyst, this does make it quite difficult to call right now, because whatever's to come is probably going to be about a 20% move. Either direction. It's either going to be about 20% to the upside, 20% to the downside. Now, if this was to happen on the downside, we'd have to take it one step at a time. So I just want you guys to be aware. The first move would probably be somewhere to around 34. The reason is this wick right here is the current wick in the structure. Now, the next move would be somewhere around here, 30 to 31. Why? Because that's this cluster of lows going back here. That's the main support. Then if Bitcoin was to break lower than that, we're looking at a full retrace down, and we could see as low as like 23K. But you see where I'm measuring right now, and if I move this down, about 20% to the downside does get us to about 31,000. That's about the volatility it's expected from the next move. And now from the upside perspective, we're looking at about somewhere of retesting the prior high in the structure around 47,000. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at right now. The volume's low. We're ready to pivot. Where will we pivot? It's impossible to predict. We're near support after 3 touch points, and we're in a bearish pattern, so the probabilities are bearish. That's just being honest. There's no hopium here. I'm telling you the truth. Now, from a perspective of how we look at how prior years have gone, the month of May is typically a bull trap. You can see right here, we actually had a high, all-time high in April. We sold off into the end of April, and then we bull trapped into May before a much larger consolidation. So also, if we go back to every Shemitah year, which I've done a Shemitah decode over in my Patreon recently, it's about a 1-hour video breaking down all the Shemitah, symbology, the connections to Saturn, etc. And I show that by mid-May, leading towards the end of Taurus. So again, Taurus ends on May 21st this year. Near the end of Taurus is typically the end of the bullish activity in a Shemitah as we move towards Rosh Hashanah. So what this can tell me is when we look at historical patterns, it's not normal to just keep breaking down when we have extreme fear in the market. And it's also not normal in a Shemitah year to keep breaking down into the month of May. We typically relief rally into May, and then we have another correction that brings us down into July. So I'm not telling you my opinion. This isn't WatersAbov's opinion. This is what has happened in the past. And as a technical analyst, we share the probabilities. And right now there's kind of a mixed bag here where we have bearish patterns forming, but we know Bitcoin, we know how cryptos act. They love to drain people emotionally or bore them. And if they could get bored and if they could be drained emotionally, they will leave the market, and the market always starts to reverse when the most players have left. So I'm really just sitting back. I'm being calm. I definitely recommend anyone who plays with the game of crypto, be calm. This wasn't necessarily solely about the depth of the TA today, more so of the mindset and the analytical side of how the sentiment goes in this market. When we're in massive fear, this is what they expect, okay? When we're in massive, greed, no one expects pullbacks. So what I'm kind of playing right now is this is near support. This is not my favorite time to be making calls, but based on prior cycles, there should be some relief into early May. We do have an eclipse in 2 days. I did release a video earlier in the week showing how tomorrow is a very important day. The connection to the eclipse and all the other information that I shared. So go back into my last video if you haven't watched it. I feel you'll get a lot of value out of it. I wanted to come make this video before the end of the month. I thought it'd be helpful for everyone. I'll probably have another video out to you guys by the beginning of May. Again, the Patreon will be restarting first week of May, or May 1st actually. So those of you that have been patiently waiting to join the Patreon, I appreciate all of your support. I will have a Red Pill podcast coming out this Sunday, and I'll be doing a full market overview, going over what's happened between now and then I'll be covering a bunch of altcoins as I always do. And then tomorrow I'll be doing my live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoyed our decode shared at the beginning of the video. I appreciate every single one of you. Much love.